everybody, Jake Raby here, Flat 6 Innovations, coming to you from the engine room with a really quick live video. So I'm going through an engine this week that actually belongs to a customer from 2018. And this engine was an elective freshening up, basically, of a race engine. So we built this engine back in 2018. It's got a couple hundred hours on it at this point. I don't know exactly how many hours it is, but it's in the neighborhood of 200. Maybe in the comments here we can put exactly how many once I really confer with the customer and I'm able to make sure exactly what the hours are and you know, as much track time as it's seen. But at this point, it's got 5 years under its belt. It's time for a freshening up. And that's something that's important because all engines, if you use them hard on the track, need to be freshened up from time to time. Doesn't matter if it's a GT3 or a turbo or air-cooled 911 or a Chevy, doesn't matter what it is. If you're tracking it hard and it's built for competition, then you need to have the engine freshened up periodically because if you don't, it's just going to break. The only guarantee with an engine, it is going to wear out if it doesn't break first, okay? Now, why I'm coming to you live today is because I want to show you one part of this engine that did not need to be replaced. The one permanent fix, the one part that has lived through all 5 years, and it looks almost as good as it did the day that we installed it 5 years ago, okay? And a couple hundred track hours ago. Now, for me, you guys, a couple hundred track hours is going to be way more than like 5 or 6 years. It's going to be maybe 10 or 15 years for most guys that do high-performance driver's education or autocross or just drive the car on the street, obviously, okay? But this was a full race engine in that application since day one. The car's not even street legal, okay? So what I'm going to show you is an IMS solution. It's my triple patented IMS solution, the plain bearing, the part that everybody wants to imitate, but they can't because I've triple patented it. But it's the simple part. It is the part that gets rid of the ball bearings and the cages and the races. And it uses engine oil to support the load radially and longitudinally on the intermediate shaft. Okay, so basically we've omitted that problematic ball bearing, and this is truly a permanent fix. And I'm going to prove that to you when I spin you around and show you what these parts look like after 5 years of hard use. Now, this was not replaced. The only thing I've done is clean these parts up. That is it. Nothing else. It's just been cleaned. It hasn't been rebuilt. It hasn't been refurbished. It hasn't had anything done to it except for ultrasonic cleaning, and that's it. That is the flange and that is the bushing. Okay, so this is a true permanent fix. You do not have to replace this when you go to build the engine. And we do this a lot, okay? A lot of the engines that we are building now because they're dying of bore scoring or they're elective, people did my triple patented IMS solution, the one and only true solution, the product that is named IMS solution. It's not a copycat, okay? We are originators here, not imitators. And this part can be reused even if you don't have a race car. It is truly permanent. If you rebuild the engine, if you buy a Flat 6 Innovations engine, whatever the case may be, you can reuse this part, okay? You can even pull the bushing out of an intermediate shaft in an engine that failed, okay? That failed for some other reason, obviously, and you could put that into another engine. We've seen it done, and we have done it. It is truly a 100% replaceable item. And if you damage that bushing taking it out, well, the bushing can be replaced. That's an easy part to replace if you damage it pulling it out, okay? I'm going to spin you around and show you what 5 years of pure hell looks like, okay? Never seen this before. It's been out there before. We've never really done a video of it, but now I'm taking the opportunity to do it. Okay, so I apologize for the poor lighting. This was not planned. I'm in engine building mode. It's the end of the day here. And I just wanted to show you guys what I see. And I probably should have done this if I was really worried about promoting things or marketing things. I would have planned to do this before I put the engine back together. But good things sell themselves, and this just proves this is a good thing, okay? Now, all I did, like I said, was ultrasonically clean this and replace the triple lip seal. That's all that's been done. And that didn't even have to be done, okay? Now, this area here, this is the area that carries the load, okay? So this carries the radial load. This area here is where the longitudinal load would be as exerted by the forces on the intermediate shaft to longitudinally move it fore and aft in the engine case, okay? Now, you can see here that oil comes out of this little hole, okay? And that supports the radial load. Oil comes out of this hole, and that supports the longitudinal load, okay? That oil comes from this port right here. And of course, you can tell this is a used part. It still has sealant there. We haven't even really cleaned this up to the point of being good for installation yet at this point. It's just been cleaned up and quickly thrown on the bench here. It will get cleaned one more time, and I'm gonna probably have to run a reamer up in there just to get rid of that sealant. So anyway, right here, these little scratches are just in the diamond-like carbon coating, okay? All you see here that is black, this is diamond-like carbon coating. This is a DLC, a nano coating, if you will, okay? Try to get some good pictures here, good video of this. You can't even feel or measure this wear because it's not wear. It's just the coating has had the surface of it scratched off, probably because some debris got in the oil at some point, or some kind of debris got in here, and that is what's caused this. You don't see it anywhere else, just in that one little spot. But it is not measurable. I threw a mic on it. It's down to basically a 10,000th of an inch. You can't feel it. You can't measure it. It's just visual, okay? But this is 5 years of pure hell, okay? Now, this is not surprising. This is what I expect. This is what I saw in testing. It's what we've seen over the last, well, at this point, we've had the patent now for 8 years. I think this is our 13th year of selling the IMS solution at this point with LN Engineering. Now I want to show you the bushing, okay? And this is what most people would consider the wear component because it is a bushing, okay? And this is a special alloy. It's not just a regular old standard 6061. I'm trying to get the light here. But there's no wear on this sucker. The groove that you see there is a groove that is put in it to promote oiling, okay? We didn't even remove this from the shaft. Everything is just the way that it's been since 2018. There was no reason to do that. The shaft had already been upgraded. It had been pinned and all that sort of thing. So there was no reason to do anything else with that. I'm trying to get some better video here. Stick my phone up in this area. That's the problem with doing something live when you don't plan it. But you can see there's some weird light going on in there at the center of the bushing. That's just the way the light's hitting it. But there's no wear anywhere. We stuck a inside mic in here, a bore gauge, nothing. Nothing measurable. It still measures factory spec, okay? So this is just a little bit of an example of what the IMS solution can do. It's not a one-time thing that you just do and then you do again later on like a lot of the other retrofit components that we've come up with. Basically, the IMS solution, you're able to stick it in the engine and be done, okay? So I'll spin you back around here. All right, so again, just went live real quick to show you guys that. No measurable wear anywhere on the bushing, on the flange. The parts are going right back into service, probably for another 5 or 6 years, in a full-blown race car, okay? Not something that you can do with any other product out there, no matter what somebody might say. They might say that, you know, everything, or let's say, they may say that nothing wears out. But in this case, all the other products made for these engines, we know have a service interval. We have dedicated a lot of time to making something like the IMS solution that does not have a service interval. Basically, you're able to service it every time you change the oil. Because when you change the oil, you are changing the load-bearing surface of the intermediate shaft because it is lubricated and it is supported by engine oil. You keep the oil clean, use the right oil, and you are surfacing your intermediate shaft bearing every time you change the oil. No product out there can do that. I don't give a damn what they say. All right, Raby out.